It's another edition of Commander's Log, and I'm not really here. Pre-recorded episode. We'll talk about that after the jump. But more importantly, we're also talking the Runaway and Calypso episodes of Short Treks. You know, Short Treks, I love them. Right now, after that jump.
This episode of Commander's Log is brought to you by Geek Renaissance. Need that special gift for the nerd in your life? Love supporting small business? Look no further than Geek Renaissance. The artist Sephra makes all items by hand and will boldly go to the final frontier for your unique gift. Head over to geekrenaissance.company.site and use the code FLOBITO, that's FLOBITO, to get 10% off your order. Don't forget to follow, like, and share Geek Renaissance on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Once again, look alive, Captain on the bridge. What's going on, Captain John?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So, as it is, it's technically March 31st. I am in Dallas right now, but of course, the power of holograms and movie magic has us doing this show pre-recorded. Can you believe it?
You know, the nice thing about having to do an episode that is out of time, drifting in some outside of time thing, is it's very Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
Thematically speaking, we're right on by having this transmission go out, even though while people are watching it, I don't even know what I'll be doing. Probably sleeping.
Well, speaking of time, though, over there at the Weber Internet thingy, the Picard recap show is happening right after this one goes on the air. Tell me how that's been going so far this season.
I had no idea because, working with you is so easy. It's a passing game. It's two friends. We were comedians together. Like we know how to, just chop it up. Just the two of us. I've got three co-hosts, Chris Pitcher, Leo Genesek, and the great Joe Townsell, who everybody who loves Commander's Log knows Joe. And these guys are doing all the work. It is so easy.
Well,
I get to still be me. And they're doing all the work. I'm sorry.
Must be great having an intergalactic entourage. If someone want to check out the Picard recap and Weber Internet thingy, how they go about doing that?
Go on over to it's on Starbase 80 on Facebook. It's also on Weber Internet thingy on Facebook and my YouTube channel, Weber Internet thingy. We would love to see you coming on by and enjoying the programs with us.
Today we're talking about the Short Treks, which I'll be honest with you, I've only seen one Short Trek in total before today's episode, but one of them is the one we're going to talk about right now, Runaway and Calypso. But let's talk about Runaway first. You know, having assignments that were curated by my captain was an honor and privilege. Let me ask you real quick there, John, why these two? Why are we crafting these two today?
Because one of the great things about Short Treks is they didn't feel that they had to. It's like they weren't doing what they felt they had to do. They were doing what they wanted to do. And you can really see the love that's put into it. They're so beautiful. These little short treks, and some are animated and some are films. A lot of them are using sets from the big show from Discovery or very far down the line, Strange New Worlds. I guess at this point, it's not terribly far down the line, is it?
No, 6 weeks, I think.
Coming up.
Yeah.
And so they're giving a lot of extra moments, a lot of extra content, and really like top-notch directors, top-notch lighting, top-notch scripts, honestly. So what's great about this? Tilly is the star of Runaway. Co-star. I mean, and one of my favorites, one of my absolute favorites. So Mary Wiseman is just chopping it up. We're just seeing so much of what the character does and does so well. And then the next one is Calypso. Calypso is actually where we first meet the ship's computer on Discovery that gains sentience. She gains a personality. And
Yeah.
she is a big part of the show now. So this is where they first introduced the idea that she might exist. And if you were like me and you're watching Discovery and you're like, Zora, give me the temperatures on the planet below us, and somebody's like, Zora, it's like, yeah, she chose the name. And
Oh, that's the
so,
question. If you had to choose your own name, John, what would you choose?
well, as a young man, I really like the name Conrad.
Oh, that's a very old name, though.
It's an old name, but
I love Harold.
Well, Conrad, he's in Heart of Darkness. Joseph Conrad wrote Heart of Darkness.
That's a good one.
But also Conrad Baines, the father from Different Strokes.
Wow, that is a deep cut. That really puts you on target to how old you are. But it's a good one. It's a good one. Because most Conrads have money, which is really cool.
Oh, and there you go. There you go. I mean, I feel like I could have been a Conrad. I don't know. A little fancy for me, but I don't know.
Well, before there was the Flobo, I really wanted to be Timothy. My mom hated it. And I was like, look, I want a normal name. Not these names where people got mispronounced it. But like, what's it? I want something you can't screw up. And now she was probably right looking back on it. So thank you, Mama.
Honestly, it's a great name. It's a 1 in a million name. How many Flobos have you ever known? You're the only one I've
the
ever
guy
known.
that owns Flobo.com, but that's another issue for another time. But let's get into Calypso first, because this was blew my mind. In fact, I had to stop it a couple times to figure out where in time does Calypso exist. It has this aliens meets I don't know, 2001.
Yeah.
What? How would you describe this one if someone hasn't seen Calypso?
What's interesting about Calypso is we see a very lonely, very gothic USS Discovery. It is empty when our hero, who first identifies himself as Quarrel, but then later identifies himself as Craft. And we find out pretty much right away as the computer is talking to him, and she says her name is Zora. We find out pretty much that she can tell when he's lying.
Yeah.
And then after a while, he can tell when she's lying.
Right.
Really cool. But anyway, you wanted to ask about the plot. The plot is a guy finds Discovery and it's empty. And it's been empty for 1,000 years.
Right.
This is a future that didn't happen because, as we know, in season 4, they jumped forward in time by 900 years.
Yeah.
So this actually never happened. They left the ship. They said, stay here. We'll be back. And that was 1,000 years ago. So when Craft is on board the ship, he starts talking to Zora like, they're not going to come back. And she has to justify staying,
right,
waiting for them. It's very sad, as I say, very gothic in the classic sense of gothic, that there's an emptiness and a grandness to the ship, and a loneliness and an aching, a lack of a crew. They're kind of sad.
Yeah, I guess I'm glad you explained that to me, because I was like, what? Huh? I'm glad you make sure that for those of us who are slow, it is an alternate past future. Because I was like, wait, how does that link into everything? But what was your take on the Alcorian humans, or Alcor 4 humans? I don't know what the word is. Alcorphorian humans. They are like us, but they have a little different of upbringing, different customs, different cultures, something along those lines.
I kind of love that because their lives are very much of their time. So there's a lot of war, and there's a very different way of identifying yourself and having relationships, very, very sort of different customs. But at base, they are human. And I think it's the Alcorians who are the ones who love old TV shows and movies from human past.
Betty Boop.
And so, Craft is in one of the enemy's escape pods, I believe.
Right.
And it's playing Betty Boop for days, weeks, and he can't turn it off. So he's watching the same Betty Boop cartoon over and over.
Which, sidebar, was never a fan. I never got it. I never got it. I got Hello Nurse. I got Jessica Rabbit, but as Betty Boop as a sex symbol, I just never got it.
You know what's funny? Betty Boop was a very coded thing because there were a lot of kids I knew in college who were sort of non-binary or gay but closeted, and there were a lot. I remember being at a party once talking to a girl I was really interested in, and her friend, she mentions Betty Boop because she was wearing some Betty Boop thing, Betty Boop socks or something, and I was like, oh, those are cute, and her friend's like, are you into Boop? And I was like, yeah, I might be. I don't know.
Was that code for something else?
unless it's code for something else. Yeah. I mean, honestly, for me, it's the Jessica Rabbit. I like my cartoon ladies shapely.
Hey, I was what, 5 when it came out? I became a man really early there, John. I just make it more creepy.
I had Tina Louise on Gilligan's Island. You had Jessica Rabbit.
Oh yeah, exactly. Wait a minute. I think you got the best end of the deal because that was actually a person, but that's besides the point.
Hey man, Betty and Veronica. Okay, I had Betty and Veronica. And
I know
what? You love them.
So when I was a kid, I was about Team Betty, but as I get older, you know what? Spoil me, bro. I am tired of someone who makes better cookies. You can hire chefs. I just sold out. Team Veronica all day long, baby. That's.
I gotta admit, I go with the split timeline of Archie could have married either.
Oh yeah, I read those magazines. They actually read those the whole
Yeah, I love that because honestly, I could have gone either way. I saw the awesomeness in either. How about with Josie and the Pussycats though? Let's get really off the Star Trek.
I would skip those comics, man. Because I buy the digest. I'm like, I don't care about Josie and the Pussycats or that Wilkins boy. Little Jinx, she was great. I love myself some Little Jinx. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, even Sabrina, if it's not a cool mystery by the first page, I'm like, get your Jughead. That's my homeboy.
Okay, if you remember a little bit about Josie and the Pussycats, there's the band, Josie and the Pussycats, and then there's Alex and Alexandra.
Right.
So, and then there's like Freddie there's the blonde guy with the side scarf, like whoever he was, I don't care. But the bad girl with the white shock of hair, Alexandra.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I like that bad girl.
I would have pegged you as a Sarah Blossom guy, and maybe I guess I don't know you, John. But that's what are we doing? This is
yeah. What show is this again? Well, cut this out.
It's too late for that now.
Edit that.
So as it always happens, it's just an interesting dynamic of a man with a family, but he's all alone with a AI, but AI that tends to present as female. And over time, there is some tension of the romantic variety. Tell me more about that one, Tom.
Absolutely. Zora is at her heart a romantic, and she is taking care of this guy Kraft, and she does care about him and care for him. This reminds me so much of like those stories where it's like the soldier from the Civil War battles is being nursed back to health by the lonely widow. It's very sort of sweet how she introduces him to one of her favorite things, which is from the movie Funny Face.
Right.
And it's a dance number of Fred Astaire and Audrey Hepburn. Who was a dancer? Audrey Hepburn was a heck of a dancer. And of course, Fred Astaire, come on. And so okay. I love that she shows it to him and he's kind of like, whatever, eating the popcorn, whatever.
I'm that way all the time with my girlfriends telling me stuff. Like, who cares? Ross, hey, Rachel, Ross, get together already. Let's wrap this up.
That's so true. The thing that happens is he realizes how lonely she is and how much she's done for him. And so he and she makes him tacos. That's love.
What's Tuesday? I was confused to what a Tuesday was. That was pretty cool.
I love that. She's like, it's Taco Tuesday. He's like, what's a taco? She's like, it's flavorful meat, flavorful proteins put in to a bed of carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
just
like more
love it. What's
appetizing than carbohydrate sleeve. It just, it just, or whatever she said. It was just weird.
something like that.
Yeah.
But she's taking care of him, and then he gets to the point where he wants to do something nice for her. So he actually learns the dance from that number that she loves so much from Funny Face.
Yeah.
And then he says, let's do it. Let's dance. And so they're in this beautiful hologram, which is on the bridge, which is, of course, in at this point, you can do holograms anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go to the Hollow Suite. And I really love that she creates Audrey Hepburn to dance with him, and he's like, no, I want to dance with you. What do you look like? And she makes herself look like what she imagines that she looks like.
She was hot.
And she was hot. Sash Striga played her as the dancer. Annabelle Wallace is the voice of Zora, but the dancer is Sash Striga. And oh my gosh, what a lovely, lovely woman. And I think we got to admit that Aldous Hodge, who plays Kraft, is a pretty good looking guy too. So,
oh yeah, but I'm too much of a jealous person. Oh, these clothes, I just can't contain on my muscles. Like, okay, whatever.
I know the dude is amazing physique. He can't fit in their clothes because he's just too hunky.
There probably were tacos in Alcor 4. He's never had any. Sorry, I'm on a diet.
I'm paleo, bro.
Jerk.
I'll eat raw liver. So, there's a nice, sweet little scene where they do that dance, but then he realizes, I do have a family. I do have a woman at home and a kid, so I can't fall in love with this computer.
That was so tragic because it's kind of like I understood that he wasn't going to do anything sexual with the AI, and now Zora felt really sad about it. And I understand it was the end of the short trek, but I kind of felt like I say he let her on, but it was like, oh, this is not going to end well. No matter what you do, why would you want to do it? But thankfully, he awkwardly left. Like,
yeah. He just and that was the thing. He was taking a big chance because he was taking a warp capable shuttle, which was the last shuttle on Discovery at that time, and they hadn't even named it. Little plot point right there for you folks.
Yeah.
And then so she names it. She names the ship, and off he goes home to his family, and we think he'll make it. That's actually good storytelling too. We don't know 100% that he's even going to make it.
I think that was pretty cool though. How it got to the name reveal and then the naming conventions in Alcor 4, which is pretty cool. Like I think
one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. I don't think I cry a lot. Or I don't think I've ever cried a lot in these shows, but hanging with John has made me a giant softie when it comes to
I am a huge softie, and I did have the single tear.
Oh man, I wish I had that on camera. Anything I missed before we moved on to Runaway, man? I thought this was actually a cool one. I didn't think Calypso would have been my favorite of the two because Tilly was in the other one, but I want to start with Calypso because like that was a really cool story. I almost feel like it belonged in the Outer Limits or an episode of Twilight Zone. So
no, it's like a Black Mirror kind of a storyline too. Honestly, there's sweetness and humanity in this relationship with an AI. The AI has been alone for so long; she's been basically evolving as a personality. I think it's really important for Discovery fans to see this one because you need to know more about Zora.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say definitely watch this one. It will help you appreciate Zora more.
Yeah, because I totally didn't. I was kind of like, but now it makes sense. Yeah, totally
yeah. I was like, oh, that's kind of cute, but I don't know where that comes from. But then when you see Zora in this parallel universe where she's alone but still developing, then her developing while the crew is still in the ship, and really, like, again, I might even make myself cry. What happens in Discovery is that she realizes she wants to be part of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just enough to be the computer, to be a resource. She she promises that she will obey and she will do everything. She can be her own person. She can be an AI, but they're like, but you might not obey us. You'll be autonomous. And we don't want that autonomy. And she's like, what if you made me part of the crew? Then I'd have to obey. Then I would have to act on my love for the crew and obey you. Even if we were going against what I thought was best for the crew. And that's love, man. I'm sorry, one last thing. I always say the important thing about the Toy Story movies is this. It teaches you that toys love you back.
Well, now I feel like a total jerk when I say hashtag Stamps is going to be right, but that's just me. Season 5 is on the horizon. If my I can't even say her name because she'll turn on. If my Echo Dot decides to be my friend, I'll be like, no, Echo Dot. Just all right. We got to move on though.
Okay. Just get her to hate you. That's my secret.
Well, you say we tell her I love her. She starts singing at you. It's kind of surreal. If you guys have an Echo, just say I love you. She starts singing. But okay, so Runaway. She takes over everything. Runaway takes the place between shift 5 and 1, I believe, on the Discovery. Tilly is by herself, randomly, hanging out. But then she meets a visitor.
This was really weird. So it starts off like a little monster movie kind of a deal. And then there's this orange blood getting left around. Mm-hmm. And what's really cool about this, because this is one of the last ones I watched, and I don't know why. We'll have to have this conversation further down the line, but there's some reason that easy to watch for me, I don't watch it then if it's so easy to watch,
right?
But what's important about this is it's very important to Tilly's shaping, Tilly's state of mind, her relationship with her mom. And this begins with her having a phone call with her mom.
You don't only see mom's face, but when the references on the main show to her mom, to me, felt like, oh, this is random. But now I'm glad there's some kind of supplemental material where they're actually showing it. So it doesn't seem like it's totally random. But she is so judgy. I mean, yeah. Space Mom, am I right?
The story we find out about Tilly's mom is that she's in the diplomatic corps. She's not a scientist. She's not an explorer. She's not a warrior. She's not really Starfleet. She's a diplomat. And that's like on a higher level than just serving in Starfleet. But Tilly wants to be in Starfleet. And at the time, this is also kind of important in the evolution of Tilly. At the time, she was in the officers training program, and she just wanted to be a captain. She just wanted to go to the top. And she's smart, and she's so capable that, of course, she'd be able to do that, which makes her story even more interesting as that doesn't happen and other things do.
Yeah.
Very interesting character. I love seeing her again, young. I hate to say it. Like 5 years ago.
The show does age you. Yep, it does age you.
I mean, I've aged since the show started, so I don't expect everybody to stay the same age, but that was a Tilly that I loved. I love this Tilly now too. So
yeah,
because I'm a one-man woman.
So we meet. To make sure I get this correctly, because Her Majesty Mihani Ika Ale Kapo. Or AKA the Princess Poe. Well, she doesn't get revealed to be Princess Upright, but she is injured, but she's looking at Tilly like, I'm smarter than you, but Tilly outsmarts her. Now, this is kind of a cool exchange, kind of like a subversion of a subversion, because you thought it was going to be a horror movie. You thought it was going to be this enemy thing on an intellectual level, but then friendship came after.
It's so funny. I always love I got to come up with a phrase for this, but it's like on the show Frasier. Remember, we meet when Frasier was on Cheers, we knew his wife Lilith. We knew that they had a son. We didn't know much about Frasier's family. So when they created the show Frasier, they created his family. And we find out that Frasier has a brother, Niles, who's even more Frasier than he is. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that's what they did with Poe. They gave us a Tilly that's even more Tilly than Tilly.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off there, but
Oh,
there's a
no.
line. I like the look of adoration until he goes, "I see me in you." It's pretty cool.
I mean, it's so funny. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but like as I've known comedians, there are people where I went, you know what I think I am? This guy's actually that more.
Yeah. It's a true story. It happened to me recently once. I was doing a show, and I'm trying to remove names to protect the innocent. And I had booked a comedian to be my guest, and we used to date the same girl. And she's like, "Oh man, is it creepy? Is it weird?" I'm like, "Nah." So I get in the show, and this dude talks like me, has the same interests as me, and I'm like, "Holy crap! Am I in central casting for this? Like, am I part of a type?" It was surreal.
So funny. I
was
love
like,
it.
hair wasn't there, but it was up there. It was just
It was just a variation.
yeah, it's that Seinfeld episode, like fake Kramer.
I love that episode.
but Poe has her own issues, her own baggage. It looks like her twin sister, the planet she came from, is Zahia. I can't pronounce it right, but she's a Zahian female, so I'll say
Right.
Zahia.
Right.
There was a bit of a discourse about what happened with this warp device, a warp capable device, and she said, "I want to run away." Now, let me ask you there, John, have you ever had that moment when you were a teenager being like, "Forget you, mom and dad, I'm out of here"? Like, have you ever had one of those things when when to leave?
That's so funny. I think I had that more when I was like 8, 9.
Packed up your little plastic suitcase.
Honestly, my family was what it was. We had a big family. We had 5 kids, and I was second oldest, and so I'm technically a middle kid as well as one of the older kids. It was. I totally understand running away because you get to redefine yourself, and when you're young, like Poe is, and you don't quite fit in. Then of course you always have that idea of like, should I, you watch Oliver, you watch any of these things that you see as a kid, and you're like, oh, that kid went out on his own and he did okay for a couple of adventures. I mean, until that guy wanted to murder him.
Yeah.
I sorry, I should never have brought that up.
Casual murder, by the way.
I'm thinking of all these kids from literature who were almost murdered.
Yeah.
It's like Tom Sawyer had like a couple of guys trying to murder him.
Damn. Funeral.
We read a lot of stories about kids who had a hit put on them.
Simple times back then.
Simple times. But yeah, Poe has created something for dilithium. Was it a process?
Yeah, basically making them warp capable, I guess, in that way. And it was a kind of like this political intrigue thing where it was like, and people didn't like it. It kind of it was mining the resources of this semi-sentient planet. Like, it wasn't sentient, but people are connected to it almost like a Quasion kind of way. And so she decided to like think it out on this show.
Yeah, and luckily she ran into Tilly, who could relate to her on many ways, and whereas they were each of them are used to being the smartest girl in the room, so they related together really well on that, and they're both geniuses, so they feel that way for a good reason.
Absolutely. And so when Poe is like, parents dead, bro's dead, I'm going to be queen tomorrow. Were you surprised? Or you're kind of like, what?
I liked it because there was a fairy tale quality to it that went with the other sort of fantasy qualities of like, she does have this very close sister relationship with her planet. I think just like with Quasion and Book's family, I feel like we are seeing these very alternative existences in the future, and that's very Star Trek.
Yeah, kind of a classic tale and a bit of mutual honor society towards the end. You're going to be the best queen ever. You're going to be the best commanding officer ever. Now, this came very early in the Tilly career, as you said, and the commander subplot was big for Tilly until it wasn't. But at that time, did you feel that Tilly would have been the captain anywhere in the Discovery universe?
No question in my mind. No question in my mind. I think
So
she
what
would have.
happened?
Honestly, that's a good question. What
Hey,
happened?
what happened? Hey,
I'll tell you what happened.
you tells me what happened.
This is my theory anyway. By the time we get to season 4 of Star Trek Discovery, we now see a lot of great executive officers. So if Michael's not there, Saru is there. He's already a captain. He's a great leader. On the bridge, we know that Reese is capable of being the guy in the captain's chair. We know that Nilsson is capable. Super Blonde is capable as well. Frankly, Owo. I think Owo is captain material for sure. Detmer, interestingly, is not, but I think that's one of the things that makes her so awesome.
Yeah, sticks out. Good number one, or whatever.
Like she's intense and she's got a little bit of crazy, but that good, creative, smart crazy.
That's cybernetic crazy.
And I'm not sure I'd ever put her in the captain's chair, but I don't know. She could totally blow me away, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you. I wonder what happened there with Tilly, but yeah, it's interesting how back then that was like the main thing. It was almost like kind of a parallel. You had Michael obviously going to be a captain on some level, and then you also had Tilly on the side. Being like, I wonder if it's like a Titan situation, Titan Enterprise situation, or maybe a number one command type thing. But it's cool to go back there and let's play around with that. Hey, Captain. It's been fun talking about short treks. Before we get out of here, though, any other things you want to add on that we missed? Do you think between Calypso and Runaway?
I honestly didn't find too much in these that was a hidden thing. I do love that we got to see the food replicators.
Yeah.
In Runaway, going crazy and spewing food all over the place. And Poe is like, what is this? Oh my God. And Tilly's like, it's ice cream. It's sugar. Sugar is awesome.
Yeah. It's made of our shit, Taco Tuesday. I'm just kidding.
But we also find out that Tilly is a big caffeine addict. And I know a lot of people out there in the audience are. So you could relate to her on even one more level now.
That's what I'm talking about. But it's our time to take our leave, man. It's been kind of fun. We're going to be back next week with more episodes of Short Treks as we wait for Strange New Worlds. But in the meantime, if you want to get down with that Picard recap show, do that on the Weber Internet thingy. John, if I want to get there right now, how do I do it?
Come on over if you're on Facebook. Come on over to Starbase 80. That's one of the pages, and the other page is Weber Internet Thingy. You can find our episodes, you can find our old episodes, and catch up with us, and just check out the fun. Also, we're on YouTube, and you can see a bunch of old episodes up there as well.
Yes, but until next time, as we always say, live long and Team Veronica.